So I'm going to give you something to contemplate. The reading I'm going to do is actually out of a book that I love. I've had a long time. And it says, Alan Watts, a 20th century philosopher and interpreter of Zen Buddhism, the 20th century philosopher, answered children when they asked questions such as, why are they here? Where the universe came from, and where do people go when they die? And so on, with the parable about God playing hide and seek. Watts would tell them God enjoys the game, but he has no one outside himself to play with, since he's all that is. He overcomes this problem of being all, and therefore not having any playmates, by pretending he's not himself. Instead pretends that he is me and you and all other people and the animals and the rocks and the stars and the planets. In doing so, has wonderful and wondrous adventures. These adventures are more like dreams because when he awakes, they disappear, he writes. Now, when God plays hide and pretends that he is you and I, he does it so well that it takes him a long time to remember where and how he hid himself. But that's the whole fun of it, just what he wanted to do. He doesn't want to find himself too quickly, for that would spoil the game. That is why it is so difficult for you and me to find out that we are God in disguise, pretending not to be himself. But when the game has gone on long enough, all of us will wake up, stop pretending, and remember that we are all one single self, the God who is all there is and who lives forevermore. It says it will be no doubt to be shocking to some to think of themselves as God, but Watts was talking about the core essence that is beyond the ego and deeper within than the personal unconscious, the collective unconscious, the archetypes, and so on. William Johnson, of the prior quotation, as Joseph Campbell said, you see, there are two ways of thinking. I am God. If you think I hear in my physical presence and in my temporal character am God, then you are mad and have short-circuited the experience. You are God, not in your ego, but in your deepest being, where you are at one with the non-dual transistent. So today it's not about just our awakening, but it's about God awakening as God as us today. May we awaken. Let's get comfortable in our seats and go to that relaxed place within ourselves. Letting our breath take us there as we slowly follow our breath in to our heart space. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 3 times. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 2 3 times. Again, taking another deep breath. As you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 3 times. To help you to enter the alpha level of mind, I'm going to count from 10 to 1. On every descending number, you will feel yourself going inward, and you will repeat a pleasant meditation level of mind where you will be able to concentrate fully on one subject. 10, 9, 8, going deeper, 7, 6, 5. Allowing your body to relax and every part of your body that is tense to let go. Going deeper, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You are now at a pleasant level of mind where you're able to concentrate fully upon that inner space. The silence of your heart, where innate intelligence abides, where the deep memory abides of who you truly are. This morning, if you are experiencing anything physically, mentally, or emotionally that is unpleasant in any way, know that that is not all of who you are. You are a whole, healthy, prosperous, beautiful creation. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you to remember who you are beyond the sensory perception. If you need healing for your body, there is a part of your body self that is in another dimension that is whole and well. If mentally you're going through anything such as depression, fear, anger, grief, know again that there's a part of you that is beyond the sensory perception, that is at peace and joy and happiness, fulfillment. If you are experiencing lack in this sensory perception of everyday, mundane, third dimension, know that you are more than that. On another dimension, you are prosperous, blessed, and whole. The Holy Spirit is there as your inner elevator to take you to those dimensions. Not there to fix you where you are, but to take you to a place that is transcendent to the perceptions of this mundane third dimensional experience. See yourself in front of an elevator. The doors of the elevator effortlessly open. You enter in. Intuitively, you look at the numbers of the elevator. The whole healthy physical self is on a certain dimension or floor. See what number comes up in your mind. 3rd floor, 5th floor. Push that button. Feel yourself letting go as the elevator effortlessly takes you to that dimension where that part of self that is whole, healthy, resides. Get off the elevator and there's a door. In that door is the healthy you, without the pain, without the disease, without the illness. Through the door, and let this self connect with that higher self, immersed together into one, leaving the illusion of the pain and the sickness behind and embracing your healthy whole self, your blessed, prosperous, happy self. Let that which is two be made one. Bring this healthy, happy, prosperous, and blessed self that you are in the higher dimension back with you. Enter the elevator and press 3 for 3rd dimension, where we live every day, bringing back with us that higher, healthy, whole self into the mundane. Entering back into the 3rd dimension. bring that wonderful, authentic, divine self into your life today, tomorrow, this week, and know that you can always retrieve this higher self and experience it in the mundane of your experience in life. Again, the elevator door opens effortlessly, bringing you back into the consciousness of this room, feeling and experiencing that wholeness and wellness as you were created to be in this moment. When you're ready to open your eyes and return back to this room, just say, so be it, and so it is. All right. Do you have a mic?
Do I have a plan?
Mike.
Oh, Mike, I don't have a mic. I have no plan.
Yeah, plan.
I'm totally surrendered to spirit. So, today, I used to call these, when we had them earlier in my time here, Dialogue Sundays. As we were talking about wanting to open up to do something different, and I'm going to let you tell the story, but I decided, I guess, because one of my monikers on the internet, on social media, is the Rap and Rev. And it was given to me years ago by a DJ. And that I was doing a karaoke. And he picked for me the original rap song, unbeknownst to me. And so it was at an event, a big event with two event associations. And so I was looking at the karaoke machine and I'm going, dun, dun, I'm not gonna say that, dun, 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 because the original rap song is a little bit naughty. And so at the end of the whole thing, when actually I ran out of breath, because it's also very long, that original rap song, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, which probably only Greg does at this point. But anyway, he said, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the rapping Reverend Rebecca. And that was about, 15 years ago, and I'm still getting Christmas cards addressed to the rapping Reverend. So anyway, when I told David about this idea of we need to talk. We need to open up a dialogue about what the heck is going on in the world. And David told me about this place in
Sedona, Arizona. There's a Unity Church. The minister just walks in and says, what's in your mind? And that's what he talks about. He doesn't come in with a prepared sermon. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool to have that kind of connection. That's real communion. It's real community to do that. Plus, I care about what's going on with you. And we want to address whatever you're thinking about, what's going on in your life, some of the questions that might come up that maybe we can assist. If we can't, we're glad to say we don't know. I'll look into it, get back to you.
So, who wants to open? Would you do me a favor and get that talking stick right there? My magic wand?
Magic?
Thank you. If we find that we are stumbling over one another, we are going to pass the talking stick. And the talking stick is, everybody know what a talking stick is, right? Yep. Whoever holds a stick can talk. So who would like to hold the stick first? Who would like to ask a question? Anything burning on your mind about what's going on in the world of matter today? You know, politics, religion.
Even politics?
We are giving you a spiritual perspective on whatever the subject matter is.
What's been on your mind most this week? What do you? Yes.
I have noticed that I have like problems.
Can everybody hear?
No.
Here. Why don't you introduce yourself, because now everybody knows everybody. And
It'd be good if you'd stand up
and
just
stand up and,
Okay.
yeah.
Hi, I'm Regine.
Hi, Regine.
Hello. I have noticed that with certain people that I deal with, I have problems speaking, and like I actually have problems like actually talking. Like I can't talk, and I was just wondering, like, what can I do about that, or what do you know about that?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay. So when you feel you can't talk, what is it that you want to say?
Like, everything's in my head, but I just I can't really verbalize
Articulate it?
Yeah.
Where do you feel it in your body?
My chest.
Okay. So is it a tightness?
Yes.
Okay. So that, is your heart chakra.
Mhm.
All right. One of the things that we're being challenged today to do in our point of evolution as humanity is thinketh and speaketh in the heart. Okay? So the first thing I would recommend, and I'm bet Reverend David has some other ideas as well, but take a deep breath and breathe into your heart and know that you are God. Know that all is in divine order. And allow yourself to feel love for the person that you're speaking to. And ask Spirit, Holy Spirit, to speak through you. And know that in silence you can still project love. I've come up with some but automatic things. Like, I have a certain member of my family who is very grounded in fundamentalism of every kind, whether it's spiritual, political, whatever. And I have come up with this. What an interesting thought. Thank you for sharing it. Or just thanks.
Thanks.
That's an interesting idea. Thanks. Now, if you're having trouble speaking your truth, okay, again, I have a little exercise I'd like to offer you. It's called the Bridge of Light. Some of you I've taught this to. You take a deep breath, and this is not in the moment, okay? It's not in the moment of where you are. It's later that day when you can't think of what to say. You go back to that situation and you visualize it. And you see that person filled with light and love in their God essence. You see yourself filled with light and love in your God essence. And you begin from your heart to build a bridge of light to them. And you see yourself and your heart walk out on that bridge of light. And you see them, ask them to build a bridge of light to meet you in the middle. And have them come to you and then speak to them, heart to heart, higher self to higher self, and have a dialogue. And it does, because I use this in my spiritual counseling practice a lot. It even works in any environment you're in. All right? Does that make sense? What other insights would you have, Reverend David?
Well, in my early years of just being vulnerable and having faith, there's a place that says, think not in what you will say in that day, open your mouth and I will fill it. Amen. And that has worked for me so well that I try not to overthink. And I think what's happening with you, what I just feel intuitively, is the inner intelligence of the heart is trying to come forth rather than the head. And there's a between the two, there's a block there. And I think once that you just trust that inner voice to just speak through you and not from you, that you're going to astound yourself at what's getting ready to come forth, such wisdom that's being awakened in you. So I think this is not a bad thing. I think it's just a new shift that is taking place and a new way in which you're going to, and I really think that it's in your throat chakra as well. So you might just want to do this. If you come to that place, just take and just move the throat chakra and the heart chakra together and speak your truth. Okay?
Who had something?
And trust.
I'd like to speak to you too. How old are you?
I'm 22.
When I was 22, when I was 18, when I was 16. When I was 15 years old, my family went to the World Conference of Friends, Quakers in Ohio, Wilmington College in Ohio. And I had the tenacity to stand up and talk in front of the entire assembly. And I can tell you, courage comes from fear. Fear is what stops you in your tracks. Courage is what lifts you up so you can stand up. Those two are born from feelings of insignificance and fear of being found out that you're better than you think you are. And I'm here to tell you that without knowing anything about you, you have a baby in your hands. And that takes enormous courage that no man can fathom. No man can fathom. It takes strength to stand up and be who you are, a mother. And that can't get any better. Mother Mary, born of whom? Jesus. You are as good as you want to be. All you have to do is tell yourself, it's okay to stand up and be who I am, because I'm not afraid. Self-talk is one of the most powerful tools you have. So talk to yourself and say, this person puts their pictures on the same way I do. Well, what's wrong with me? Stand up and do it. Just say what's in your heart, as they said, because it comes from your heart. Fair to say? I used to be scared too.
Tara, did you have something you wanted to ask?
Yes, but I don't know how I follow that. That's so as I become more aware and more conscious, lately I have been feeling really frustrated with the rest of humanity who is not. How do I deal with that?
Well, well, I think we all share in being a little frustrated right now with what's going on in the world of appearance. But remember, it's just an appearance. I see this whole thing of enlightenment, ascension, resurrection, higher consciousness, the whole idea as waves. And I think some are in a wave, and I think others are not. But I think there's new waves that are coming that is going to bring people out of this place that they find themselves, and it's almost like a hypnotic state they've been put in due to a lot of what's going on out there through the media and stuff like that. And I think when we experience feeling like what you're sharing with us is a wonderful opportunity for us to really recenter ourselves and remind ourselves of who we truly are, and remind ourselves of these principles that we stand for in New Thought. Like we're all connected, we're all one, and feed those ideas. And I think that will make these emotions and feelings of separation begin to dissipate and lose their strength and their power. I think people are just probably where they need to be, no matter what I think. You know, I have my perception of how it should be, and I think that's where we get in trouble, is through our perceptions and misperceptions. But let's believe that there's a plan and everything is going well and people are where they are, and by where they are, it's going to be their driver that's going to waken them at some point like that. So go ahead, Rebecca.
And I'm going to give a little bit of an esoteric slant to that as well. Think about what it was like for the Master Jesus as the voice in the wilderness when he came through as the great avatar at the shift of the Piscean age. We are the shift. We are in the shift of one age into another. The age of Pisces to Aquarius. Aquarius is about mental energy. It's air. The power of the mind, as Reverend David was saying, is very important to use right now as we remember what the Master said, to thinketh in the heart. So right now we're being challenged as light workers, as bearers of the next 2,000 years or so that we're in the beginning of, this next great age. We are being challenged to hold the light for the rest of humanity as they kept up over the next 2,000 years. And whenever you're at any kind of an overlap of any kind of energetic, the old energy has to come apart. But the people that don't know what's next are in fear. And so they're holding on to the only things they know. And a lot of it is fear-based methodology, fear-based thought. It's always been done this way. I have to have money to be this. I have to have power to do that. And so love them at a higher level of your own consciousness through your heart, and know that they are doing exactly what they need to do as the old shatters apart and the new is created out of the great cosmic egg that I was talking about last weekend. Okay? So, and it's hard to do, because as Reverend David said, we want people to be where we're at. We want them to know the glory of who they are. But you know what? They're exactly perfect, exactly where they are. They don't have to be on the same wavelength that we are on.
May I add something?
Absolutely.
If you want an active activity to do with that, I find myself always saying, bless them on their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, it gets out a blessing to them and understanding to me that they're on their journey. And it goes back to what you're saying. So you can bless them on their journey.
But don't say, bless your heart.
Okay, so I mentioned this in the class, so I'll expand on it just a little bit. Whenever I feel, the word I used in class was depressed, but it's any stress. If I feel stressed at all, that's my clue to express gratitude, to thank Spirit for all the wonderful things that I do have, and also to send out love to everyone that I perceive as being a source of my stress. To sit there and say, okay, I receive divine love and I send it out to this person, this person, this person, this situation. And gee, my stress goes away. How about that? And to me, what that means is, when my stress goes away, and I'm feeling calm and in tune, that I am in tune with Spirit. And that is perhaps the best thing that I can do to improve the world.
Exactly.
There you go.
Wonderful. Can I see a hand over here?
Take this, thank you. Very well said.
Anything else?
Just walking away.
You mean you guys are fully accepting of everything that's going on in your life?
Okay. Going to Bonnie.
I stay stressed all the time because I watch too much news. I know that.
You've been in the cable TV.
Yes.
And
But,
MSNBC, Rachel Maddow.
coming from my background as a Jew, and most of my family was killed in the Holocaust, for me to watch these children being torn apart from their parents, and there's still over 800 kids that haven't been matched up with their parents. I just feel like we're at a stage where we're becoming fascist. At least the government is trying to be that way. And I need a way to calm down.
No?
I'll take it, because I had a thrashing from my fundamentalist family because I put something on Facebook about this. Esoterically, soulfully speaking, those little souls, thank them for the service they are giving and helping to awaken humanity. Those are great ones in small bodies.
Wow.
And we need to be grateful for them bringing to the fore, just like the Holocaust did at the time. And this is a very hard thing for people to listen to, but Hitler loved us just as much as Jesus, because he challenged humanity to come and awaken in a new way. Remember that we are not the physical body. We are the soul. And there are great ones that inhabit all sorts of bodies. They may be children, they may be crippled, they may be whatever it is, but they are giving us the opportunity to stand up in compassion and love and power and make changes. I've said this before, and I'm going to charge you again. You are the ones we've been waiting for. And so take it and do something with it with love. Does this make sense?
Yes.
I do believe that it's taken something like this with children to really touch deeply in the collective aspect of people. I think when it comes to children, it crosses every boundary.
Yes.
Every political, religious, racial boundary there is when you start seeing something like this happen. And it is soul-sized, as Rebecca's saying. This is soul-sized stuff. We can't get caught into the body identities, but these are souls that are playing out some part. And unfortunately, through free will, we haven't done that great to use free will to raise ourselves to an awakened consciousness. But I think behind all of that are contracts that have been made that are getting ready to go into activation. And I think it's going to take some very serious things. As Rebecca was talking about the Holocaust, today that's still being used to keep people awakened to. But I can't imagine what it was to live in the time in which that was going on. Just as you cannot imagine what it's like to be living through what's going on today. But there will be generations that will look back at this and see how it moved humanity on into a different place. There's a point of no return that's coming. There's things that happen we forget. And there's things that happen we never forget, that becomes a part of our lives, our culture, our everyday. 9/11 is one of those things. They'll never be forgotten. And there's just points, and I think this is one of the things. And I think of how the teacher said, bless the little children. You know, unless you become as a child, you shall not enter the things of the kingdom of heaven. And I think they touch the child in all of us that has not been maybe nurtured the best that we could have been, a lot of us, at one time too. So stay in the big picture with all of this that I'm hearing. Don't be drawn into this narrow sensory perception of how things appear to be, because I don't think it's that way at all when we look through Christ consciousness at these things. And I'm saying that to myself. I just said this recently. I don't think I can hear another conservative on the radio today, you know. I get there, but like Charles was saying, you got to remind yourself on who you are. And you got to ask that Holy Spirit in you, bring me into the bigger picture. Don't let me be caught in to the narrowness of perception itself.
And remember that as a collective, we gave permission for this to be. Yes.
And get out and vote in the primaries.
Yes.
Take the House, take the Senate.
And you know what? I want to make a nonpartisan statement here. It's not just one party. It's a collective. So we need to also quit doing the polarization that we tend to do and realize, and that's why I said we are all responsible for where this is. And it's from a spiritual point of view. We wanted to be here on the planet at this time in this place because we knew it was a big ticket. We knew that the show that was about to go on was going to be life-changing. So give yourself some credit for being here and being brave enough to be in here at this time in the shift of humanity.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to say, for me, when I'm watching something like that, I'm constantly asking the question, how am I contributing? What choice am I making that has allowed this to occur on my watch? And a lot of times that really requires me looking at my own life and going, oh, there's a choice. And I need to make a different choice the next time I have opportunity.
Exactly.
Or act in a different way even though I've made a choice.
Very good.
that it's not what I, which isn't good for everybody. And there's another thing to remember too. I believe that we're all 100th monkeys,
Yes.
and that we all have something in our life that we can make a choice about that will change the collective consciousness of humanity and will evolve us to a place of right action. And that we all have that little thing written in the tablets of our hearts that tells us what right action is, even if we have outside external influence that says, no, it's okay to be this, because there's a law that says you can do this. But if that law is not for the collective, then individually, I cannot choose that law, because I have to do those things that are not only good for me, but good for everybody. And that's not arrogance speaking. That's saying that in my heart, I know what's right, regardless of what I've been taught. I mean, I know it's not right. I know it's wrong to hate white people, okay? Even though I have a lot of evidence that says to me, because of what ancestrally and what still happens to me today as I walk. But every day I have to say, no, today I will season my speech with grace and salt. And one thing I wanted to say in the classroom was, salt is a preservative, it's a refresher, it clears toxins, and so when I'm told to speak in a way, I have to be creative and speak in a way that does those things, regardless of what I love this, what y'all are saying about what you see is not, because you have to, trust me, every day I go, okay, today I see this, but that's an illusion, that I have to pull myself back from in, really dig deep, do a little bit of crying, do a lot of perspective looking, and change the course of my actions. And it's not easy, but if I'm here, I love that too. If you're here, trust me. There's a reason why you're here. And you need to be exercised. And I say this to myself every day, exercise while you're here. Don't fall into the trap of, you got that 100th monkey thing to live into. What today can you be a 100th monkey about?
Yes.
I think it's also important where you focus your energy, because it feeds it, that collective consciousness. So I'm not saying to not be informed, but pretty much turn off your TVs. And you can be informed, but don't be in it all the time. And focus on the good things that are happening in the world. I mean, there's so many amazing and progressive things that are happening. Whole countries are doing and taking on new ways of doing things. And I like to really focus on those things, and on Facebook or whatever, put those things out, and really it brings hope and inspiration of what's possible, rather than just really getting all caught up in the negative that's happening. And just the other thing is that I think that you guys kind of said it, but we called Trump the Kachina, because he really has just brought all the truth out. I mean, there's no denying what exists and needs to be worked on now. It's kind of like a big, ugly wound that's been lanced, and it's ugly, but that's the only way that it's going to heal. And if you look at just a couple of years ago, before this, the conversations that are happening now about race and other, religion and preferences, none of that happened the way it's happening now. The dialogues are happening
Exactly.
and creating the change.
That's right.
And so let's rephrase anything that has to do with the physical form of the soul that is POTUS. And remember that he has a great love for humanity. he would not have been given that role unless he had a role to play in the changing of the world. So let's love him and honor the service that he is doing for the world. It's not just our country, it's the world.
It seems like he's taken us backwards like 100 and some.
But you know what? We're looking at things that haven't been resolved. That's the idea. We
Right.
haven't, there's still stuff left over from World War II and World War I and the Piscean Age that needs to be shed. It's the remnants of the stuff that is not of the highest and best for all. And that he is pushing every button, but so are the people around him. So are the people around him. It's not just the party. I'm talking about our government in general. It's like we need someone to step forward that's not Republican or Democrat at this point. And we're not supposed to be talking politics in church, but it's the idea of seeing the form and pulling back and looking at the big picture, as David was saying. And this idea of when we have something we want to change on the third dimensional plane, we take it up to a higher level of consciousness, just like we did in the elevator, and we see it changed, and we embrace it, and we feel it in the core of our being, and then we bring it back down to the third dimension and live it. We're going to change it in a higher level of energetic and consciousness, and so that it seeps down through into the third dimension.
And that's where the contemplation, like Johnny does, brings it down and you face the day.
Yeah.
See, when we did the meditation a while ago, we went up to find ourselves. Trump has a higher self too. He's your higher self connected to his higher self. I don't know Trump, never met him, never been in his presence. All I know is a perception that I'm getting from him. But I don't know the intent of his heart, and I don't think he's all that he appears to be, even on the outside, what he's doing. I really don't. And you know, what am I shadow boxing? You know, am I dealing with an illusion that I have built in my mind? I use this example, the children of Israel, 430 years in slavery, talking about someday we're going to get out of this. Someday we're going to get generation after generation. And they kept making straws for Pharaoh and bricks and whatever. And finally it said, and God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. Not the devil. God hardened the heart of Pharaoh and said, all right, you've been in complacency long enough. It's time to wake up and get with it and move on to your destiny. And that's the message that I think we should be getting from all of this. Wake up. It is time for you to be co-created in the destiny of humanity. And if we're putting all of our energy complaining and not liking what we have, that's where our energy is going, as somebody said, is what we're focusing on. So let's refocus, rethink, repent is the word. Metanoia, that means think again.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, I have a lot of ideas, but one of the things I'm thinking that we should thank Trump for and other people, in order for us to grow spiritually, we have to go through the dark night of the soul. We have to realize while we're in this dark light of the soul, we're going to stay there, we're going to move backwards, or we're going to move forward. In order for us to advance ourselves spiritually, we have to make a decision. We can't have someone else tell us to do this. We have to do it ourselves. When we talk about being in the third or fourth dimension, we go into the third dimension, we go up, and we stay up in the fourth, fifth, sixth, and sometimes the seventh dimension, and even further. But we are being tested to do that. And Trump is helping us, our friends are helping us. This is a time for us to start thinking for ourselves, to do things for ourselves. We can't depend upon someone else to do it. We have people here to guide us, which is good. But we have to ultimately make that decision ourselves.
Yes.
Can I introduce a term to you called spiritual paradox? It means you have to go down to go up.
Right.
You have to go back to go forward. And what Amanda's saying Yes, he has taken us back. And what you were saying was a very important point that we don't want to miss. We are going back because this is a clearing time. There is no going forward with all of our karmic patterns to rework it in another time or another lifetime in third dimension. That's over. We've hit the curve. It's not the end of the world, it's the curve of third dimension. And we have got to do the clearing. And to do that, we have to go back and take what Rebecca beautifully said has not been taken care of even since World War II. We've suppressed and suppressed. We thought racism was taken care of in the 60s when they passed, the certain laws. No way. We just kept suppressing and suppressing and suppressing. You can't keep doing that. Now it's emerging on the body politic. The toxicity can't be hidden. Nothing can be hidden, but it's going to be shouted from the housetops. This is an opportunity that's happening, an opportunity to heal ourselves as a people, as a culture, as a nation, as a planet. See it as an opportunity and take your energy toward that rather than, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. I can't believe I live in a world, a nation in which all of this is going on. If that's where your energy's going, then you're feeding it.
The other thing to look at is that we're learning how to love ourselves. We're learning the lesson that Jesus brought here, 2,000 years ago? Love ourselves. You can't love your neighbors.
Till you
can't
love
love
yourself.
Trump. You can't love anybody else until you learn how to love yourself.
That's right.
That reminds me of the song. I love myself so
So much. Where's Greg?
that I can love you so much, that you can love me so much, that you can start
And this is-
loving me.
Ba-bum-bum. Let's end this with
Sing
this.
it, Johnny.
That's a good way to end it.
Let's go ahead and end it with this. So much that you can love me so much, that I can love you so much. We can start loving me, myself so much, that I can love you so much, that you can love me so much, that you can start loving me. Thank you, everybody. That was great.
That was,
So did you like it?
Yes.
Do you like to do this once a month maybe, or
Yes.
from time to time?
All the time, yeah.
Good for you.